We might be in a very shitty situation. We just got all the core wires done, the ECU was testing fine, everything was working smooth, about to fire the engine, and then one wire uncoiled. It was a test wire ran from the positive lead just to see if a sensor took 12 volts or not. Uncoiled, shorted out one of the sensors. We're about to see what's going down. We just stopped what we're doing. We're about to fire up the ECU and see what's going on. Let's see. No ECU connected. That's not good. That is not good at all. So here's what looks like what happened. I just ran this temporary wire. It was out of a spool, a really small spool, just meant to test 12 volts onto a sensor. I was told that it could be a Hall type sensor. Let's test 12 volts. What happened, as far as I can understand, is the wire uncoiled and touched the lead against the 5 volt signal that I was also testing it with. So I just shorted out a 5 volt ECU line to 12 volt 30 amp fused line to computer circuitry. I literally just nuked a computer. The worst part is because I used positive 12 volts, which of course 12 volts is positive, and the fuse on the ECU is 12 volts positive. This grounded to the ECU, so there's no fuse that would pop. I literally just nuked my computer. Everything else wired perfectly. Everything else is working perfectly. All these cores, everything, all my sensors were running smooth. And we are boned. What we're gonna do is we're gonna talk to Adaptronic. We're gonna see if what they can do to help. We've got a very tight deadline. I still gotta get the car dynoed. I gotta get new tires. I gotta get tons of shit done before we make it to Speedfest. At this moment, I don't know if we're gonna make it to the event. This is not manufactured drama. This is literally what's happening, but we're gonna use it in a positive sense before I just throw the car out. So fortunately, Adaptronic reached out to me late in the evening, and they're saying that, yeah, I definitely fried their equipment. That is wonderful. But they're getting me a new control board overnight, so at least we got that going for us. But before you guys watch this video and think I'm completely incompetent, let me show you that I legitimately have a solid wiring in a diagram and everything's set up properly. This was a simple mistake on a 12 volt wire that we thought might have been needed. Wasn't even needed at all. For those of you that might watch this video hoping to understand and not reproduce what I did, let me show you what's going on. I have a 60-2 crank angle sensor. This one comes from Electromotive, and it's got this wire right here. Mind you, I put these on there just for testing, but let's take them off because it doesn't even matter. Here's what was so confusing. Obviously it's black wire, but you can never trust wire colors. So this is sensor ground, shield ground, and then just a simple signal line. This is not power and ground. This is not just ground and power and signal. This is very simple. There are really only two wires, sensor ground and the signal to the ECU. So I put 12 volts onto this wire and somehow fried, just overpowered my whole circuit. So if anybody has a 60-2 sensor that is from Electromotive, that's what those three wires are, and you learned at my expense. Hopefully that helps one person out in this world and life goes on. What happened was these were exposed because I didn't have anything plugged into them. This was a 5 volt line I was erroneously testing, and these are two sensor lines, again, also testing. So what should have happened is I should have had this plugged into the sensor line and this ground plugged into ground, but the 12 volt line uncoiled and rolled and touched one of these, frying the ECU almost instantly. So check this out. She's all grounded properly. We have multiple grounds, one for each rotor housing, for each of the smart coils, all of my new injectors, new fuel rails, a fuel pressure sensor wired to the ECU, not just one for gauges, grounds from the block to the body, another ground from the body to the block, so we got redundancy there. So We can't have any sort of overloads. All the injectors are crimped perfectly, no pigtails there. We've got sensor grounds separated from the engine ground. We've got the heavy duty, all the coils are beautifully ran. Of course, I don't have anything covering the wires right now for diagnostic purposes, so we'll cover those eventually. But everything is done solid. I did this. This is all me. So if it fails and catches a fire, that's one thing. But as you can see, this is my realm, and I've thoroughly done it properly. I am not going to let this stop us. We are going to make it to Speedfest, and this car is going to kick some ass. What the fuck is with this line? This wasn't supposed to be the first video showing off what we're about to unveil. This is simply what happens. Life happens. What I want to tell you is that we are currently in the process of getting this car stable, yes, stable to 200 miles an hour. We're taking it out across the state to do a half-mile event to really set a half-mile record for rotaries, which is the 4-rotor is going to destroy. Why am I doing all of this? Well, the 4-rotor is extremely expensive and no videos can get made while I'm affording the 4-rotor. So we're working on this one to keep you entertained and keep videos going until then. So where's the 4-rotor? Still in California. It's being built. There are things being done to it, thankfully. But in the meantime, make this, mess it up, and have some fun time filming it. This is your ECU. This is your ECU on Rob Dahm.